Well, let's welcome Jerry to the hot seat.
Howdy. Let's chop it
Hey,
up.
hey, Jerry, it's a pleasure to have you. If you don't mind putting your okay, perfect. You're now next. We're now next to each other. Sometimes it gets a little weird
Perfect.
with the presentation. It's great to have you, Jerry.
Thank you. It's great to be here. Appreciate you, Sid. Good
Uh,
conversation, by the way, on risk and uncertainty.
so what do you
Outstanding.
think? So what do you think? Are you making a
Um, I,
decision to take risks, or are you a victim of risk?
no, I actually, I really resonated with a lot of what you said, right? You live with uncertainty. Life is uncertain. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, and anyone who thinks that it will, I mean, someone's going to be right out of a billion people, but generally it's just a guess. Risk, on the other hand, is an action-oriented item. I agree with you entirely, right? Risk is you either take a risk. It's less a state and more about an action or decision you make. And as a result, I actually take a very contrarian view about how founders are risk takers. I'm not a risk taker. I'm actually a de-risker. So I'm
By the way, I haven't paid Jerry to say this because
Yeah,
this
yeah,
is
no,
exactly what I think.
no. Entirely me. So the way I view it, the job of a founder is to identify the opportunity, then take every possible way to de-risk all the amounts of opportunity or chances of a negative outcome surrounding that. So every decision I make has to be oriented towards driving actively a positive outcome. That's the job of a founder. That's why
So
your
there is
job is that.
that's wonderful. I'm going to derail a little minute. Let's explore this because it's an important point. You said the job of a founder is to make decisions to de-risk a positive outcome. Correct?
Mhm.
Okay. So
100%.
here's two things. One is then de-risking has to do with a decision. Correct?
Correct.
And a good decision, in order for you, requires two
An
things.
informed decision. Yes,
An
go ahead.
informed decision, which is not just based on, hey, this is, externally, hey, if people buy this item, there's going to be a lot of money for it. So that's a risk and return, the higher risk. It has to do with who is Jerry?
Yep.
What is he afraid of? What's his family situation? What is his condition? Is he the son or the daughter of James Rockefeller, or or is he coming in from a more moderate family? Is he in U.S. or is he in Japan or is he in Kenya? Where is he? What is his conditions and what is he capable of commit to? What is his background, the skills that he has? It's all of that
Yes.
that kind of comes into that decision at that moment. So, who is
100%.
in control of risk? You. And in your
100%. I think if you, again, risk and uncertainty, right? I don't control uncertainty. It exists.
correct.
I can de-risk. I can actively using asymmetric information, skills. If I don't have the skills, I go find someone that does. If I don't have the relationship, I find someone who does. Those are things that I think every founder would have to view as the edge, right? Whatever edge you have or you don't have, you're constantly seeking that to go find that. So from my own personal perspective, I'm actually not, I have a very comfortable relationship with uncertainty. I'm actually less comfortable with risk. So because I don't like risk and because I don't view myself as a risk taker, I actually do extraordinary research and then I think, okay, but who's lived this? Who's actually found the heuristical knowledge that's not written in a book? And then I interview 50 people. So I'm very proactive in that context, and it's kind of strange when people talk about, oh my gosh, I would never do that. And I would say, well, of course you wouldn't do that now, but if you knew what I knew, if you've talked to the number of people that I've talked to, if you've discovered and connected and brought on board the number of people that I have, You'd say yes. There's no risk here. Let's go. And that's why to me it's a proactive stance, right? It's risky, but it becomes less risky. It's dynamic, right? If I can get more information, if I start getting more people buying in, I get more investors putting money where their mouth is, your risk goes down. And this is why it's not just
Absolutely.
when they talk about investors looking for less risk, it's really yeah. I don't do this for investors. I do this for
Investors,
me.
okay, so investors, let's talk about the investors for a minute because that's an important issue. An investor want an investment requires a return.
Mhm.
A,
Absolutely.
an early stage startup investment requires a lot of return because
Yes.
again, 50% of them are kaput. They're gone within a year. Then
Who's the
another
biggest
30 of
investor in my company, Sid? I am.
you are. That's exactly
I
right.
am the biggest investor. So when they say they like investors like founders who think like investors, every founder needs to recognize you
You are
are
the biggest.
the biggest investor in this. You
Great
have to get a
advice.
return. You have
Great,
to. Otherwise, why are
great
you doing
advice.
this?
Absolutely. So, Jerry,
Yes,
let's
sir.
jump into give me like give us like a 2 or 3 minute about what is it that you do, and please make it idiot proof because I'm not the smartest man on the planet.
Hardly, Sid. You're pretty damn smart, but I'm definitely not the smartest guy. So Jerry, yeah, so let me start by this. I created 7 military-grade engineering inventions. I launched 4 rockets into space. I'm 4-0. I quit while I was ahead. Didn't blow up any rockets, so that's good. And so my career has been very much about turning science, physics into revenues. I like money. I like science. Connect the both and let's go. So I've done a few different things. I sold algorithms to Schwab for investments. I led pricing algorithms with Hewlett Packard, and now I founded BioMetal Health, which is a metal engineered to heal faster with less pain and less infection as it dissolves. So think about the metal as it dissolves into natural minerals that are essential for human life. It's found on the back of a vitamin supplement bottle. So you take your vitamins, and those are the same metals, same minerals, zinc, magnesium, iron, calcium, that actually are already found in your body. But this has been engineered into a metal that is placed inside the body to strengthen it, to help bones repair, to be a stent in your heart, to keep your
So it's
artery
a
open,
minute.
that
Okay,
sort of thing.
hold on one second.
Yeah,
So this is I have a problem with my knee, and this is kind
yeah.
of like minimally invasive, some sort of a plate that you would put in there, and then over time it dissolves into mineral and it becomes part of the bone. Is that,
It
did I get
actually
it?
becomes the bone. So think
That's
about it.
what I
So
said. And it
let's say
becomes
it's a
the
hip
bone.
joint, right? It's a spike that goes into your femur, right? And has a ball on top. Well, that's not how it was in the beginning. It used to be you had your bone with the little ball on top, right? It actually, I don't know if you can see it here, um, but you can see here, this is your hip joint. This is
Yeah.
all bone. You're born with no metal in your body. But now imagine you can have metal here,
Except Iron Man, Jerry.
except Iron Man, right?
Okay. All
Or
right. All
Wolverine,
right. All right.
right? But now imagine the metal dissolves and becomes bone because it generates bone growth into that space. That's what
Absolutely.
biometal does.
Phenomenal idea. Uh, you've done different things. You've jumped from rockets to algorithms. What gives? And you said I love money. Do you love money really? Is that
I love
if I
money.
give you all the money in the world, you'll quit?
I
What is it?
I didn't, well, Sid, be careful now. I didn't say I love money the
You
most. I love
did.
my
You did.
wife
I
much more. I love my kids much more. I love my health much more. I love my community. But here's how I view this, right? Whether people like it or not, a science that is successfully helping humanity is going to be in our capitalistic system generating revenues. That's how I view it. So for me, I like to say I turn science into revenues. Yes, that sounds mercenary, and it is. I like money. I like the comforts of money. There's no falseness about that. But more importantly, a successful business that does well by doing good is going to have more sustainability and power to truly affect humanity than a company that is a nonprofit, hopeful, but very small. So I
Absolutely.
think big. My view is generate wealth by delivering health. And if we can deliver health, that's the mission now, right? Two sides of the same coin. You have to deliver health. What's bad about that? You've made people healthier, happier, with less pain, less infection. And if we're generating wealth with that, you now have sustainability to do that for a longer term. So
Okay,
that's how I
so
view
you're
that, Sid.
saying so the impact is really what drives you because you wouldn't have
Correct.
changed. This is not, you were not in the health business before. Now you are. So there's some sort of an impact that you desire to make, and this one has
Correct.
now moved you because you found this thing that dissolves and it's a great idea and all that sort of stuff. And in order to make impact, without the vehicle of financing that, it becomes a challenge. So
Correct.
is it true to say that you like the
It's high
impact
risk.
and what it does for your family, for your lifestyle, and it's not the money is the means to the other things? Is that fair to say?
I'd say it's the opposite. I'd say money is the result of driving towards impact. And it is, whether you like it or not, it is a scorecard, if you will, of
Correct,
how
but
long.
impact has to be there first before any
Correct.
consequences.
Correct. I'm not,
So
I can make money other ways, but I want to, look, I was born and raised and put on this earth for a very limited amount of time, and I want to do good in the world, right? And if I look at every job that I've done, it's done something to advance humanity. Um, whether it's financial investment algorithms for retirement, whether it's whatever it may be, compute, telecommunication satellites, there's some element of helping humanity. This BioMetal Health is the first time I can directly help humans, human bodies. And by the way, the material biometal reduces inflammation, which is the source of pain. If I can drive health
Jerry, I am
and reduce
sold.
pain,
It's a great idea. Okay,
oh
I'm
my
sold.
gosh, right?
What is your founder's dilemma? What dilemma do you have today that we can in the next 15 minutes or so try to jump into and see how it unfolds?
Absolutely. So one of the great de-riskers that, as part of my playbook, has always been successful is speed. You make a mistake, not make a mistake. Like every decision is not perfect. I'm not perfect. I've made every mistake a founder could possibly make, and I've probably invented a few. So I'm pretty much an idiot. What I've learned is if I move really, really fast, good decision or bad decision, just go, act, see the outcome. I'm very much iterative, right? Act, do something, good or bad outcome, assess, not good, do something else, etc. The problem in this industry is that because now you are dealing with human lives, right? There is a measured pace you have to have. It's also regulated, and there's a thoughtfulness and a care that has to be taken. I take that very seriously. So the founder's dilemma, Jerry's founder's dilemma, is how do I maintain my playbook that's been very successful? This is also what's exciting to me, right? Which I have always used to succeed, which is go at all speed at all cost, to now go as fast as your creativity will allow you, but slow enough that you're being thoughtful about the right decisions to make, going back to the decisions, right? To me, it's less about risk. Well, actually, if it's about risk, it's about risk of harming people, of losing the opportunity to really help people. And I think it's that
That
important.
is actually a wonderful thing to unfold, that dilemma. Here's why. You chose to go into an area where we have the FDA and a this and a that, and it takes time and it's got to go into patients and it's got first phase and second phase and third phase, and it requires a lot of money, by the way, before you get into it. Who chose that? You chose that.
I chose it.
Now, okay. So now you're trying to apply a series of things that had worked in the past
Yes.
into a choice that you had made. If you didn't know that this is slower than the other things, your awareness was a little bit shady. Okay? Now,
Well, the awareness
if
was there, Sid. I would
if
say it
you
differently.
yeah.
My awareness is there that it was slower. My my conviction was very high that I could go faster than normal. That
So
I had
so you can,
asymmetric skill sets.
but you can. So I'm on the board of a company. It's now valued at about $300 million and blah blah blah. And they're doing something that goes in the eye,
Mm,
which requires FDA
I
and
didn't know
everything
this.
put. Now, on the average, people say that you need 30 or $40 million before you get to the point of actually hiring CROs and going and doing the mass, phase three kind of stuff. The CEO, she's done it with about 13 million. Okay. So has she gone faster? Eh. Has she been more effective? Yeah. Has it been frustrating? Yep. But the key thing is there are ways that you can introduce incremental things to be
Yes.
able to do that.
Yes.
Now, the speed of change and the consequence of what you call the mistake could be different. So
Yes.
it's like the same way in uh, in foundries and making, semiconductor chips. You have to do
Yes.
something and then you send it to the foundry and you don't know if it's going to work or not. And it takes 4 months and then it comes back and says, oops, it didn't work. So the cycle gets to be pretty long. As a result, it requires a lot of capital. As a result, it requires a lot of patience. But the recognition, again, you would be frustrated if you want to apply the same speed and the same game. You're playing
Right.
basketball, you can't play the rules of cricket in
Right.
basketball, okay? As much as you love basketball. So you are now in this domain. This is a more measured domain for good reasons. Okay. So the key is how do I get from here to here while I'm experimenting on things that is not getting to the ultimate impact, but it is can I incrementally find things that maybe as this is going through this, I have another thing that comes up on top of it. Is there another thing that I can do with this material? Can I create a portfolio of opportunities so that you maintain your interest as an entrepreneur in terms of being engaged, because there is a burnout. Characters like you and I, we like to do things if fast, and we like to get there. We like to experiment. There is a danger that if things go too slow, we get burned out. We get burned out by
I
waking
guarantee
up
you.
every
Yes.
day and seeing the same set of issues to be resolved. Now, that's where the scientists and the research folks love things like that they ponder. But if you want to get to impact and you want to get there fast, you have to be able to kind of incrementally advance it. And if the blockages are things out of your control, then it becomes a problem, right? It
100%.
becomes so. The reality is, this is the game you have chosen to play it.
Yes.
Okay? Now, either you become frustrated every day, which would lead to burnout, or you look at the scenario and say, okay, is this a material issue that I can enhance? Is there other things that I can do to see how this thing that I call a metal can potentially do other things uh, to enhance human health? Are there things that are not necessarily require FDA approval? If you're saying that this is not if you forget about intrusive things, and this is something that fuses to the body in some way or for shape, and it's adding some nutritions, is there something that you could do that is non-intrusive, and it has to do about nutritions? I mean, you talked about many. I don't know the technology. I'm just thinking aloud. So the question is, the question is, if the game is set this way, and there are the realities and uncertainties and out of control issues, what things can you control to change the game? It's not about, see, this is the difference between resilience and resistance. One is, I'm going to push through this thing.
Right.
You can't. You would not be able to get this to market unless you've spent a lot of money, a lot of money. You can optimize it, you can reduce it, but this is the game. Call it barriers to entry, call it human protection by FDA, whatever you want to call it. But that's what it is. Now, you want it faster? Pack up your bags and go to India. You can get there faster. You eliminate the FDA. There are over a
Yeah.
billion people there. Hey, a
Yeah.
billion people can use this and you have achieved your impact. What I'm saying is this. You can't resist something that is existing, but you could be resilient to go around it, either by creating other options, by creating means of getting around it, by creating situations that you can achieve similar impact, but not being bound by this set of rules that are not breakable. Does that make sense?
1000% Sid. And for everyone out there, Sid and I did not talk about this or practice this beforehand. So I'll give everyone a quick epilogue or conclusion to that. The way what Sid has said is exactly spot on. The thinking that I had to go through. So our first foray into this, Sid, is exactly that. I had to adjust to the game of cricket, right? So it's just a different speed. It was just a different game. And so number one, I definitely had to recognize I was in a different game, right? I couldn't force it through. That was number one. So you're 100% correct. Number two, I did exactly that, which was we got this great metal. How do we think of other ways to use it? What we actually settled on was to use our biometal, melt it down, and use it as a coating on existing implants. Now, what's so creative about that is that not only is that a faster, lower threshold FDA path, but because we're coating someone else's existing implant, there's no training for any physician that's using that implant today. So we're even faster to market. So I think the moral, the lesson out of all this was, I mean, really be open to the new game, embrace the new game, like embrace cricket. And in doing so, we discovered all the advantages that it was actually a better product market fit as a coating, especially out of the gate. It, the final comment I'll put on that as a capper is that every FDA strategist that we've spoken to has said, oh, that's really smart because that gets the FDA now familiar with your material when you then become the replacement hip joint that dissolves, they'll be much more open to it because you'll have already coated existing implants with high biosafety. And by the way, we'll make some money off of it too. So I think that
So
that's how the thinking went. It's a risk, right? I mean, back to uncertainty and
again,
risk.
everything is a risk.
Everything
Now,
has
now
uncertainty. So
that coating may be a good way of getting there. I think that there are other ways.
I think you're
Now,
right. Yeah.
I think there are other ways. The key thing is, as entrepreneurs, there are multiple stages of things that one is this idea that this is our comfort zone, this is our sameness. We're
Hmm.
comfortable with it. Then, because we know this game, we try to, oh, I like to earn more, I like to have a better life. So we try to take these set of rules with us into the journey. And then we say, oh, we're experimenting. No, that's not experimentation. That is a fact that the rules that you had in having an algorithm doing something is very different than the
Yeah.
rules that you have in this game. You should have studied the rules and know the rules.
Yeah.
But this was comfortable. So you brought all of that in. And then at some point you said, oops, wait a minute. Now,
Yeah.
you were all about speed. If you had done that analysis in your mind initially, you may have saved some time.
Yeah,
wouldn't
I
you?
think you're right.
But we don't. But genetically, we don't do that as human beings.
Well,
We try
Jerry's
to.
not as smart as Sid, so I just
No, I've fallen into the same trap 1,000 times. I've fallen into the same trap. So the point is the point is that in order to discover something better, you have to look at your biases and how you look at things. Like today, I said, hey, please stop thinking about this idea of the more risk, the more return. That's nonsense. The
right.
more risk I jump off of a 10th floor building, where is the return? There is no return, but there's a pretty big risk. So if I don't jump out of a 10th story building, I jump off of a plane, would that be more risk, therefore more return? Nonsense. It's yes, there is a relationship. There is a relationship, but it is not necessarily. It's not necessarily causation. And
Right.
that is, I think, an important element for entrepreneurs to figure out. Now, with that, Jerry, um, we're at time. We have to end exactly at time because this is distributed and so forth. Is there one last word of wisdom from a mindfulness that you'd like to share with us?
Yeah, I'd say dampen. He, the other founder's dilemma is ego versus confidence, and totally different topic. But I would encourage everyone to dampen your ego way down. Have confidence you can de-risk. Have confidence you'll find the answer. Have confidence you've got the endurance. Have confidence you've got the creativity, but don't have an ego about it. And I think
We've
that
had
is
that's an excellent conclusion. We have, as a part of the wake up calls, a series of conversations around ego, actually around arrogance, around confidence, around false confidence, about resilience, which I encourage you and all your team. I look forward to having a follow-on conversation with you, Jerry. As you know, since you're here, you and I would spend another half an hour where, if need be, we can get into more details.
thank you, Sid.
So with that, I'd like to thank you, and I'd like to thank everyone who has been on the call with us. I wish you the patience, the awareness of accepting uncertainty, and making and looking at risk as a choice. Okay.
Thank you, Sid. And thanks to
Until
the
next time.
audience.
Thanks, Jerry.
Bye-bye.
It's time to evolve. Download the app by scanning the QR code and join the community that thrives on growth.
Let's leave the sameness. Let's leave it behind. Let's leave the sameness.